machines.
Dude, that'd be cool.
I could go for a smoothie right
Especially
now.
like
Right?
if
See,
it was a
we'd all use
rocket.
it.
What if it was a rocket-shaped smoothie
Ooh.
machine?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Sort of dangerously sharp at the top for some reason,
And
right?
then,
Like not safe for children.
So when a year before Star Trek Deep Space Nine started, in TNG, they kind of started the whole Rolarian stuff, and they started talking about the Maquis and the Cardassian border stuff to kind of lay the groundwork for the DS9 universe. So what we need to do is a compressed version of that, where we all become big juicers and smoothie enthusiasts.
You were right.
Right? And then we spend like a few months.
I am struggling, guys, to get enough fruit in every day. Let me just mention that.
We need it.
Have you heard of smoothies?
We need a hero's journey. So we start like today, like, oh man, I am worn out and tired, right? So this is the beginning of the hero's journey right now. And then something comes along.
I did just excitedly buy 2 pomegranates that I'm intending to choose.
Do you have a juicer?
No, but
Not
if you take
yet.
pomegranates, you get all the, not seeds. There's a technical term for what you call the little granules. The delicious pomegranate nuggets.
Yeah.
But you put that, vacuum seal it, and then get like a rolling pin and just sort of gently crush it. And you get like a much sweeter, it's much less bitter than sort of like the regular from concentrate pomegranate juice you get at the store. It's super delicious.
Why? Just because you smashed on it? I don't get it.
Well, because you kind of smash it gently, right? You don't like press through all of the seed and everything else. You're just sort of
so like the anger
getting the
doesn't get
juice
out
gently.
or what? Why does that make it better? Because it doesn't release the anger and the misery?
I guess. Well, yeah, because it's kind of like instead of just like getting everything, right? Because you don't really eat the middle part of the hard seed
that
anyway.
stuff's the
But when
bitter
you
stuff.
process the whole thing, yeah, exactly.
I thought it
I
was
don't
like
know the science behind it. I haven't looked into it like super deep, but
I
let
thought
me
it was
tell you
like,
that when you juice it yourself that way, it is delicious.
with grass, when you mow the lawn, that smell is the grass screaming.
Yeah.
That fresh cut grass is the smell of grass screaming to other grass that there's a danger. And I thought maybe that's what the deal with the pomegranate. Like if you just snuck up on the juice, you got the good stuff.
Oh, yeah, okay, right.
Right.
Mhm.
But if like you come at it hard,
If it's a humane sort of pomegranate
Right.
harvesting,
you sneak up on it, then it doesn't freak out and release
and
bad
it likes
stuff.
just a little vacuum seal hug before.
It's
the
warm
end.
and cozy. Yeah. That's right. Okay. Your version makes a lot more sense than my version.
I'm gonna have to bring some up next when I'm there, so that you can have some.
Wow.
Yes. Also, I hear it's good for like my parts. So, I don't remember which ones, but I think they were important parts. So I'm good.
You're really selling this juice.
Yeah, you see, we're going to be great. But it's the beginning of the hero's journey. So Wes will be the one. Wes will be the character that comes in and he'll be like, you got to try this. And at first I'll be like, nah, man, I don't need it. And then one episode, I'm just real down and Wes brings some pomegranate juice and I drink it and we just have a banger. And I'm like, what was that? And Wes is like, let me show you. And then that starts the journey.
Technically, there will be gin mixed in the pomegranate juice, but that doesn't make it.
There you go. That explains it.
Yep.
Oh, okay. That's good. All right. So we got a pre-show, not a big one. So we'll be able to take a little intermish before we start the show. We have a Wes made special for our song this week. So I think God, I'm already hungry. I had sausage and eggs for breakfast.
Nice.
I know, but not enough. A few solid eggs, but it's not enough. Okay.
It's never enough.
It's never enough. I think we're ready. So let's start with.
I'm hungry.
I know. I'm sorry.
Screw you.
I got nothing here too. I got nothing. All right. Here we go. In 3, in 2.
I woke up with a joystick humming in my hand, TV glowing like a prophet in a discount land. A cube on the carpet whispered, baby, let's boot, with LEDs winking like they're calling me cute. It said no windows here, darling, we roll our own fate. Archangels in the kernel and the firmware's first rate. I said take me to your desktop and it purred with a gleam. Slide into my sessions, ride the Steam-O stream. Oh, steam machine, you're a neon fever dream. Running Linux in the lounge like a velvet laser beam. Steam frame, beam me up, make reality obscene. Yeah, we're living 2026 in a caffeinated scene. on tight. We're gonna bend space-time in your living room tonight. Encores, chanting like monks in a bass. Me facts, translating my life into pure entertainment. It said your entree has 6 pass. Let it go, let it pass. We've got shaders doing yoga in a 4K glass. I whispered, will it? Hey, hey, hey. It said sure eventually. Then it winked like a smartass existentially. Oh!
Hello, members. Welcome in to episode 641. Boys are here with a big episode. Hello, Brentley.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, Mr. Wes.
Good morning. Happy Tuesday.
Hey, I like this tune you put together, Wes. Seems
Oh,
appropriate.
yeah, I made it for you.
I'm feeling the vibe.
I didn't know you could sing like that.
Well,
I don't like to break it out too often.
what Wes doesn't tell us is his actually most impressive talents. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he can't release them all at once. You know, he's got to trickle.
It's like you.
them into
I
our
mean, how
lives.
many years did you wait till you dropped paragliding and then like another 9 months and then you dropped skating on us? You know?
Well, skating is inherent. I think you should have guessed that.
Yeah,
one.
you know, that's fair. That's fair.
It comes with the birth certificate, you know.
That's fair. Yeah. I just, I need to add a link to the show notes and then we'll get into the pre-show. But I just remembered people are going to want to link to something we're going to talk about. Okay.
Hey, I like that. We're getting ahead of the game. Normally, it takes us ages after the show
Yeah, I
to
know,
finish
right?
our links. So, doing it now.
Get it in now. Okay. So there's a few interesting things to talk about with the members before we get into the main show today. Before we do that, let's say good morning to our mumble room. Hello, Virtual Lug.
Hey, Brenton. Hello.
Hello.
Chat.
Hello. Hello.
Thank you for joining us.
So everyone wants to know what the Linux kernel is going to do about AI-generated code. And we have at least a ongoing process, I guess you could call it, from the kernel team to specify guidelines for tools that generate code that get subscribed to the kernel. And this has been posted to the mailing list on Friday, and the latest proposed guidelines, according to Phoronix, are basically rules of the road for anything generated with AI. The Intel Linux engineer Dave Hansen posted the third draft of the proposed AI tool-generated content guidelines. The new guidelines rename LLM mentions to coding assistant, mentioning testing as part of the change if done by a tool, and some other minor revisions. The guidelines continue to be focused on kernel contributions written in a meaningful way by a tool or AI, plus exposure to any tools or AI that may help detect problems or testing. Such contributions to the kernel may be accepted, but there must be transparency around the usage of AI. Seems pretty reasonable, right? If you got to produce something good, and you got to tell us that you used a machine to generate it. It's kind of my take.
Yeah, I think viewing it sort of in line with, we're already using a bunch of tools. We try to mention them both, not only just for transparency, but as they mentioned here, like part of it helps knowledge transfer and share, like, if this worked for you to create a patch, maybe it will work for other kernel developers. So we want to know for that reason as well. So a lot of it seems pretty, reasonable, as you say. Like they mention things that are out of scope, right? Like spelling and grammar fixes, or if you're just using it as typing aids, like identifier completion or other stuff. So there's plenty of ways you could still use it behind the scenes as your own aid without necessarily having to go through all this. But if you are, say, and they go through some examples, but if you're doing a significant amount of code change or generation that isn't just a mechanical refactoring, then it makes sense to be clear on how you were able to do that and exactly how someone else might be able to reproduce it.
I saw a really good post this week about the KeyPass XC team, who is also looking at basically giving rules for what contributions should or shouldn't have some AI. Wes, I think you read it too, and I thought it was a good exploration of like what is reasonable to ask for. And it sounds like at least the kernel is headed in the same direction, which is nice. But that was a really good read. I just linked to it in the Mumble room and the Matrix room. I thought it was a great read. So if you want to give that
I have a question for you.
Go.
How do you feel there? So they're basically stating they're going to probably be a little bit more, they're going to scrutinize more submissions that are disclaimed using AI. And so they say, the other read is we're going to have more eyes on this. You may have a little tougher time getting it submitted if you used an AI tool. Is that a fair?
I see. So your argument is the code should be on merit alone, no matter who the author is or what tools they use, basically.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think eventually, yes. I think maybe not today, but maybe in 2030, right, or 2028 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think part of the advantage right now to it is we're still sort of establishing social expectations around use. And so this maybe signals a little extra to say like, look, you are already supposed to be responsible for what you send us. And we're going to like critically review whatever it is you're trying to get merged into our tree. But if we know that you were using tools that can allow you to generate a bunch of stuff that, you know, we're trusting that you are saying that you review and stand by every line of, well, we're going to make sure that it really is up to that par. Perhaps even just as a social mechanism to make sure that you're doing your due diligence, which you should do before any kind of submission of, you know, doing your own couple stages of review to make sure you're not doing anything dumb or missing something obvious.
Mm-hmm.
There also are different uses of AI, right? Like a project itself may use it to, I don't know, look at pull requests or do simple testing and stuff like that. So it's interesting to see projects declaring that stuff too, because it doesn't only come from the PRs, it also comes from inside the project. And we're not hearing as much from projects about how they're using it or if they are willing to or not.
Yeah, there may be a bit of a social stigma around it. I've talked to some pretty, I've been trying to get a sense of it because these tools are aids. And for somebody like myself, they're pretty handy because I'm no developer. But it's just as easy for me to make a mistake because I don't, have the experience and things like that, and it won't catch some stuff for me. So that's why I say the tools aren't fully there yet. But I have talked to developers who create some of the stuff that people in Linux use on the daily. They're pretty serious people. And it's laughable to them that they wouldn't use these tools. Like, of course I do. Yeah. I get more done. I have to check it, but of course I'm using these. I mean, it's like it isn't even a conversation to them. Like we're sitting here like, should we not? How do we, like to them, it's like, yeah, of course I'm using these tools. I'm not an idiot. I got things to do. I got to get shit done. That's how they look at it.
It's like almost a luxury that we, have the time to think about it and to debate instead of just using the tools that make things faster.
To Brent's point that, I think there's also different ways of using these tools, right? Like they are quite flexible. And so maybe for Chris, like you're saying, right, you're not directly as much of a direct developer, but so these are the code generation itself is more useful. Whereas I think there's all kinds of other layers too. If you already are skilled in that part where like maybe you use it more for architecture discussions or review or planning purposes, as well as like, some of the code generation, but that's usually less of the hard part if you already know how to code. Like I find myself using them all the time just as a quick way for open source stuff to review like whatever I've staged for this change set. Make sure I didn't forget one part of like renaming a variable or just help me easily summarize so I can write my own commit methods, but just from a nice review of everything that's changed. Sure. That kind of stuff.
Sure. Yeah, I shouldn't gloss over just recently. You banged out that Texas tracker in a couple hours after an episode. That was amazing.
Yeah, true. That is the other side of it where for stuff that you maybe isn't super internally complex, a combination of your own, the stuff you want to write and then just stuff you can easily test from the outside and verify actually works.
Yeah,
and I find especially for like the web stuff, right? Where like we just need to smoke test that the UI does enough that it services like what we're trying to view from it. And then kind of the internals for the first couple drafts don't especially matter.
And the other thing I'll point out is so many things have APIs and ways to extract data. And so a lot of it is just working with that data and then displaying it or analyzing it correctly. And that's something they are good at. Yeah. All right. Moving on because we have one more kernel topic. There is a proposal in the Linux kernel to change something that you may have or may not have ever noticed, but if you think about it, it is a bit of a problem. The Linux HID subsystem, the human interface device subsystem, assumes that each HID device only has one battery in it, which is a pretty outdated concept if you think about something like maybe like earbuds, when each earbud has a battery in it, or gaming gear. Probably something like the new Steam Frame probably has all kinds of different things in it. So Red Hat's Lucas Zemperi has proposed a patch to fix this by adding a new HID_battery structure and a per-device battery list, letting drivers report each battery individually while keeping the full backwards compatibility with older software. And so there's a few real-world devices out there that already are broken that need this, that users are trying to run on Linux. Gaming headsets with charging docks, styluses, wireless earbuds like I mentioned, multi-device receivers. There's lots of ways. And one of the things that the developer pointed out from Red Hat, Lucas, is that by not having this standard right now, there's been a lot of these wonky workarounds, or they just don't support Linux. And so the idea is to have something that just works but maintains backwards compatibility. I mean, there's no way to hate this, right? This is just a good thing to see all around, but props. It's not something I really thought about, but I have tried to connect, like earbuds and been like, oh, yeah, okay. All right.
I know. I'm still in the stage of like, oh, wow, I'm getting battery reporting from my connected devices. That's so cool. Look at desktop Linux go.
Well,
but you're right. Like, this is one of those funny limitations that it took a long time to get there.
Yeah.
I've only skimmed the actual proposal in terms of what they, how much this will actually change. So it doesn't seem like it's a ton right now. 3 files changed, 176 insertions. So maybe it's not the worst, but sometimes, something like this, a hidden assumption gets baked in early and it ends up being kind of thorny to remove.
Yeah, I guess I'm also in that camp. I'm still impressed that my Bluetooth mice show up with the battery levels and stuff. And the mouse only has one battery in it, so it's not a big deal. But this would be great to see, because I do sometimes for calls use earbuds, which often sound like crap. But, it'd be nice to see the charge status. Okay, let's move on. This might be a good sign. It's not a 100% walk back, but it's a cracking of the door. Google says in response to feedback, they're adding a new account type for students and hobbyists so they can share apps with only a small group without completing verification. Now, we talked about this hobbyist group before. It was 10,000 users, but they seem like they might be making some adjustments here. And this all goes back to the lockdown of sideloading APKs. And what Google says they're going to do is for power users, they're going to design an advanced workflow that lets them install unverified apps, which means you probably won't have to go through the KYC process, while still resisting coercion and presenting, quote, clear warnings so the decision is fully informed. Google will be sending out early access invites that will be going out now through the Android Developer Console for developers distributing outside of Play, with Play console access coming soon. Google says it remains committed to safety while, quote, getting this right.
Yeah, as they say, we're building a new advanced flow that allows experienced users to, quote, accept the risks of installing software that isn't verified. So,
I don't know. Brent, this doesn't make me feel a lot better. I mean, it's better, right? Because I guess Obsidian will still work, right? But I don't know, man. It doesn't sit right with me. Does this satiate your concerns?
We'll still feel like new hoops to go through, and that you'll have to, I guess, be registered with Google if you want to use any software. So that's what it sounds like to me. Am I understanding that wrong?
It's not clear to me. I don't know about end users.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the change here, right, is that was the case before, but now they're saying anyone can install unverified apps, but you're going to have to go through some kind of flow that reminds you that you probably don't want to do that.
Right.
Which I agree with you, and I especially wonder just how annoying and how often we'll have to do this. Is it going to be a one-time, you go into dev settings and turn a flag? Is it going to be at every time?
Every update
sort of
just to make it really nagging? Yes.
When will they take away dev settings? Maybe that's the thing they're doing. You have to be a dev settings. That would be tragic.
Yeah. I do think, just in full transparency, I think if it's not the worst version of what this could possibly be, I do think we have to give them some credit. Not really because they started this whole mess in the first place, but this is kind of what we said would ultimately be acceptable. Is some kind of let power users do it. Don't make it easier for my mom to do. Play out your safety narrative if that's really your legitimate concern. And they are kind of maybe doing that.
Yeah, fair. And also, if you're going to look at something positive from Google, it's nice to see that the device trees for booting Pixel 10 hardware has been thrown over the fence. A Chromium engineer at Google posted the initial device tree, which is called the DT files, for being able to boot the latest generation Pixel 10, Pixel 10 Pro, and Pixel 10 Pro XL devices with the mainline Linux kernel. And I believe this is sort of a key piece that the community needs here. So Google announced the Pixel 10 devices back in August, and it is now November 16th. And this happened on the 11th of November. Not exactly a speedy turnaround, but it's here. They write, this series adds bare-bone device tree for Pixel 10, Pixel 10 Pro, Pixel 10 Pro XL, with yet unreleased bootloaders. These can boot to UART command prompts from initramfs. The end result of the device trees introduced in this series is really pretty simple, so it's expected that most of the discussion in the series will be about compatibility flags, strings, file organizations, DTS, DTSO organizations, etc. So, I guess this
is another one of these kind of mixed bags, right? You're like, well, it's not perfect. It's not when we wanted it. It's not everything. Like, it doesn't mean that the kernels will work. It's just, I mean, at least they get the enumerated hardware and all the correct information now. But that was kind of something that needed to happen if anything else was going to ever happen. So
Yeah.
Did you say a Chromium engineer? Is that what you said?
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
I think it's kind of one and the same team now, is what that is. I don't know what the future holds for Chromium. I mean, Chrome OS. I know Chromium's fine, but I mean Chrome OS. I don't know. I think maybe the future of Chrome OS is Android. I guess this hopefully means long-term, within a relative amount of time, Graphene OS will work on the Pixel 10 now, which is good to see, which means people can go out and get their Pixel 10s. Merry Xmas, everybody.
Does that hurt your wallet?
Not for me. I'm good. I think the line for B will be when the Pixel 7's battery just sort of collapses on me. When I get to that point. Yeah. Then
should we start some bets?
Start a clock. Oh, watch out. Here comes the news eagle. Well, Canonical has made it official. It was teased on our show, but it is now official. They have expanded the Ubuntu Pro Legacy add-on to extend LTS coverage from 12 years to 15 years, starting with Ubuntu 14.04 LTS.
That is bonkers.
That is a long time.
The company says the goal is to ensure, quote, business continuity without forcing major upgrades. We know how much you hate upgrading.
Yeah.
So pay us.
Yeah.
15 years is like...
to get the certification on that version, all right. Let it roll.
Yeah, man. That if you're on 14.04, that is worth paying for.
I was thinking maybe, since we have a machine in the studio that
like
we need to kind of wipe anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe we get 14.04. We see if we can get like a free trial subscription to this from Canonical, and then we,
all they need to do is just snap up a modern desktop, and then I install the 14.04 base, and then I just install like a modern desktop snap.
That's going to work great.
I will say, right, that is one of the things going on here is there is a lot of stuff now. You can more easily layer on various stuff. So
yeah, that is true.
Like if you are just like, well, what ends up mattering for various things is what the space platform is for compliance or for auditing or for just whatever the setup and risk tolerance we have is.
And then we run the rest
with running
containers or VMs. Yeah.
If that works, then you can kind of see how there is a business case for allowing this to happen.
It does feel impressive to do all of these updates to such old software. Like that's an engineering feat. Not everyone is willing to take.
I often think about
unbelievable.
That.
And you have to pay for it, right? Because that's the only way you're going to get people to do it, because it's not work anyone wants to do necessarily.
Now, you remember when we had John Seeger on the show, episode 636, episode 636 on October 12th. We talked about their Rust tooling and why they're switching to some of the Rust tooling. And this is part of it, is they're hoping to make it easier to maintain over a 15-year period. So I know people have been having a tough time trying to understand why is Canonical going down this route of replacing things like sudo with Rust versions when there's perfectly good versions out there right now that have been around forever. Part of it was platform compatibility with ARM and RISC, but also part of it is they have to maintain what is essentially these crazy-ass legacy forks of Linux for an impossible, inhuman amount of time. And I think one of the ways they're going to try to solve that is containers, snaps, things like that, but also by rustifying some of the tool base in the hopes that it's a little bit easier long-term to maintain. We'll see. But
yeah, I mean, you want any help you can get, probably, right? If that's your new target, it's like, well, what can we do to make sure we can find developers who can work on this, who want to work on it, things that the tooling can add in safety or checking or regression finding for us. Anything to help. And probably that'll also perhaps involve some use of LLMs down the road as well.
The value here is pretty interesting because unlike RHEL, you can just go get Ubuntu LTS. You can just install it. You can go get all hooked on it. And then if you have something that's actually really important, then you can subscribe to something like this, right? So this is a subscription package you can subscribe to. You don't have to like go through these sales hoops to get the special enterprise version. You just get it. And then you subscribe to Ubuntu Pro. And now you can get 1404 support until April of 2029.
Now, we also have some optional stuff, right? Like optional break fix support is something you can have.
Get the tire and windshield package. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, so when you have a production issue, you can call their support team.
That's the
maybe
IBM.
You're less familiar with 1404
I think
after
that's the IBM package.
11 years.
Now they know what they're doing here. Canonical is pricing this legacy add-on package 50% more than Ubuntu Pro. So
that's reasonable. I mean, if you're in that position,
I'd like to hear
you
from
probably
somebody.
really need it.
Somebody call in to the launch if you're in that position. You know what? Speaking of that, I say let's remind people to call the launch. Call in and tell me about the oldest servers in your work. Whatever you like. Even if you're not a server person, but you're aware of it. But if you are one of the server people, also call in and tell me about the oldest rig you have installed and running.
Well, I'm just going to make a quick call to my launch. I haven't checked in since yesterday. 774-462-5667. That's it. All right. 774-462-5667. Call now.
I bet there's some doozies out there. You know what? I bet there are some doozies. Oh, boy. I mean, I saw some crap back in my day, and that was... You know, the craziest thing I ever saw back in my day was I'd go into small businesses, and one of the people there would be the tech person, and they had set up like all of the printer sharing and file sharing on some Windows XP computer. And then, of course, it would like have problems, and then nobody could get to their stuff, and like...
Oh, man.
You know, that was such an easy slam dunk for just a little Linux NAS. Just like, hey, let me solve
Oh, wow. No kidding.
Such an easy solve.
You didn't really have to do much. You just had like a better solution going.
Just
you had to know about it and properly deploy it and all that. I'm not trying to minimize.
No domain, just Windows workgroup stuff, just real basic, crazy crap. Man. And the things I saw, dude, people using VPNs, people using all kinds of software that the management and IT had no idea about, just crazy.
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
Crazy.
I think you mean shadow IT.
Yeah, that's right. Unmanaged IT.
Hey, I heard, Chris, you were running some of that stuff when you were in school. So
that's true.
Sounds guilty over there.
One of my go-to favorites was I really wanted to get better speeds. And at home, this was later on, but at home I had a 56K V.2 modem. And so that required everything in between your modem and the phone system to support the V.2 standard. And so at home, I could get one fast 56K connection, but that wasn't fast enough. And the schools, they had phone lines, and I could set up, I think it was like an NT4 machine with a modem, but because the school's system wasn't completely V.92 compliant or whatever it was, it would only be able to do 33.6 max, even though I had a 56K modem. So what I did is I set up two 33.6 modems at the school. And then when my folks would go to bed, I'd tie up the main home line and the fax line, because of course we had to have a fax line. And I had all these wires I'd hook up, and then I would dial in, and then I would back in the day, essentially, combo those lines like I do now with cellular, actually, now that I think about it.
Ah, that's where your history comes from.
Yeah. It was great. It was glorious.
How reliable was that?
And then I was on the school LAN. So like if I was patient enough, if I had a Windows machine, I could do like the Control R whack, and I could put like probably Win's name or something. I could put the machine names into the school servers and browse the school file shares slowly over my modem. Like I was on the LAN. They had no idea. Massive compromise, now that I think about it.
How reliable were those lines?
It was a different internet,
It was. And they had a good T1 connection. So, yeah. But the other thing that was dope about it is if I was home, but one of my buddies was in the computer lab, we could still game pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah, so it was great. I still remember it was like a 169.204.112. something address. It was I would get like a public address for a while, and then we finally fixed that. Yes, good times. Gentlemen, do we want a little intermish? We give people a chance to get in our chat room.
Oh, yeah. Pull up that Matrix room.
Yeah, everybody get in the chat room. If you want, linuxunplugged.com has the Matrix link in there. That's where you can bang suggest and give us a title. I'll try to pop in on the Tubes chat and stuff like that, but the Matrix chat's the main chat. If you want to get Brent's attention, that's where you go. You know? Right, Brent?
It's the only one I look at.
You're always looking in there, right, Brent?
That's where I am.
All right.
Yeah, you just tag at Bang Bus, and then he'll pop up.
Yeah, he'll get me.
We'll take a quick intermission. We'll refill our beverages, and then we're going to start the big show. Be right back. Okay. Hello, Otterbrain. Hello, Magnolia. Hello, PJ. I see people up there on the screen. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome in. I'm going to shake my, can you hear? This is my protein. I hate these. But I'm hungry enough. I'm breaking out a protein shake before the show. Yeah, and I think they expired. No, wow, God, I don't know how, but they last until May of 2026. How's that even possible? Oof. I don't even know. I don't know. I'm going to do it, though. I'm going for it. Hey, PJ, have you ever heard of Kaufman Home Automation? It's a K-A-U-F-M-A-N, or K-A-U-F. 15 amp plug. All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. I'm not going to say it had chunks, but it might have had chunks.
Chunks? Oh, no.
I'm not going to say it had chunks, but it might have had chunks. Whew.
Sometimes that could be an insect, you know? Extra protein.
Yeah, that's true. I'm usually a fan of vanilla-flavored stuff, but these vanilla-flavored protein shakes...
They're not doing it for you?
They give me the EBGBs. You know what I mean?
Who knows what it could be masking, right?
What do you think of this shot? You like this shot?
Little overhead crisp? Oh, the double up, yeah. It does kind of have a fun diagonal kind of action to it.
Diagonally?
Diagonally.
I can't help it. Yeah, so my machine locked up on me this morning.
What is that about?
I still think it's the USB bus. I think it's too gosh darn much. Don't know really how to handle that. Honestly, if we had the budge, I'd just replace this machine. You know, what do you suppose the chances are that 1 liter PC is more powerful than Airmaster? Decent, right?
Yeah,
100%. I say
probably.
Yeah, decent.
Holds more RAM.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, I'm proud of it. It's lasted. I think we installed it, 2017, 2018, so I'm proud of it. But at the same
It has really lasted. That is true.
Okay.
Have you tried a Hawk Strike?
Not in a while. It has, because we replaced that power supply, so it's been good.
Maybe it just needs a reminder.
Yeah, I missed the Hawk Strike. I thought it added something.
Yeah. I think I got to get these board setups that way. When I hit a soundbite, it just presets the volume, my preferred volume for that soundbite, because the Hawk's kind of loud, right? And so are the Ducks. So like, why not have the Ducks down a bit? But then certain things like, well, it's kind of loud. There's certain things that need to be the right, like you want coming in strong,
Shouldn't we like do a pass, maybe normalizing clips?
We have the power.
Well, if we ever,
we still might want to tweak some of them.
If we ever build a soundboard system, we should just build that in.
Yeah, for sure.
A soundboard guy for.
Yeah, he's still around because of the contract, but we took him off the soundboard. He just sits in the corner.
Yeah, he kept insisting about some sort of work-life balance thing. I'd never heard of it.
Doesn't work for us, so.
At least you're not lonely today. That's good.
All right, boys, are you ready to record?
Oh, right.
Oh, yeah, right.
Get your fingers in the recording position.
Which button is that again?
I don't know, man.
101? One password?
.com/record.
It's a good episode of Star Trek. Okay, here we go. In 3, 2, 1, record. Hello, Drew. Hello.
Hi, Drew.
Test for Drew. Hi, Drew.
Happy Tuesday.
Let's do a little 4 count. Jump in Mumble Room U2 at number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
4.
Nice.
You're counting quickly today. Chipper.
2. Oh, really? I thought I was downtrodden. I thought I was.
You're doing all right.
Demure. Well, I am 3 Red Bulls in, so that might be helping. So I drank up all my Red Bull supply because I needed to get energized for the show. I had to get,
We better get in and get out fast because I think there's
right.
What does the stopwatch say?
We're gonna. I'm gonna burn out for sure. Okay, here we go. And a 3, and a 2. Hello, friends, and welcome back to your weekly Linux talk show. My name is Chris.
My name is Wes.
And my name is Brent.
Hello, gentlemen. Well, coming up on the show today, we have something new and something old for you. Valve made some big Linux hardware news this week, so we're going to give you our take and the big things I think everyone's kind of overlooking. Then, we have a souped-up, refurbished 1-liter PC that might just work for my home lab. We're going to put the ThinkCentre M920Q through the tests, and then we'll round out the show with some great boosts, some picks, and a lot more. So before I go any further, let's say time-appropriate greetings to that virtual lug. Hello, Mama Room!
Hey, Chris, hey, Wes, and hello, Brent.
You're doing good. You're representing, it's a small on-air crew. We got some up in the quiet listening. Everybody's out. Otherwise, I think having a nice Sunday. Of course, our Mumble Room is live during the show. Details at jupiterbroadcasting.com/mumble. Also, be sure to check out defined.net/unplugged and go meet our friends at Defined Networking. They have Managed Nebula, which sits on top of the open source Nebula decentralized VPN platform that we love. Unlike traditional VPNs, Nebula's decentralized design keeps your network resilient if you have a home lab with just a couple of machines or a global enterprise. From 2017 on, this thing had to hit the ground running because it interconnected Slack's global infrastructure across multiple data centers around the world, and they're moving everybody's data. So it has to work, it has to be confidential. And something I have been negligent to mention, but I wanted to, is at the beginning of summer, they released desktop clients for Nebula, and there's a Linux client in there as well as iOS and Android. Defined Networking has Managed Nebula, which you can try out for free up to 100 devices and really get a sense of how awesome this platform is. And if you ever just want to take it all yourself, everything is designed to be self-hostable. The bits you want, or you can take advantage of public infrastructure. This is the kind of thing you want to build your long-term network around, not something built on another platform that's going in a different direction. And so go check out Nebula, try it out for free, up to 100 devices with the managed product, and go from there and support the show. It's real easy. Go to defined.net/unplugged. You deserve a better VPN experience. So go redefine it at defined.net/unplugged. We have a spot of housekeeping before we start the show. Ohio Linux Fest is back December 6th, 2025. Brent, are you going to just pop down? Just pop on down for a little...
Yeah, it's only like 10 hours from where I am now, so maybe.
And you've got over 10 days, so plenty of time for you.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Wes.
Now we know you can do it. It'll be in downtown Columbus at the Sonesta Hotel. We'll have a link in the show notes. You do need to register. Listener Jonathan will be there giving a talk. He's a sysadmin at Red Hat, and he manages a fleet of laptops. That's neat.
Yeah, this talk should explain what to consider when managing Linux workstations for remote or traveling employees, discuss some of the technology used, and how things have changed. Yeah, that's a non-trivial problem, and you'll love to see it being talked about because I'm someone who wants to work for employers that provide Linux laptops. So realistically, that comes with like compliance and other things that needs to happen to make it work in the org. So, spread that knowledge.
I did do the travel math. If I was willing to drive 11 hours a day, it'd be 3.7 days of driving, 3.7 days total of driving to get one way.
You could totally do it. We've done worse.
It's a bit of a trek. I thought about it.
I know this is one we've been wanting to make for years now.
Yeah.
But it has eluded us.
Tell you what, fly in somewhere. I'll pick you up, and then that'll shorten your drive.
I like this idea.
And we still sort of get like an artificial road trip out of it.
But you get to ride in the van.
Perhaps in our absence, some of you could go and either boost us a little report, email us a report, or even better, show up in the Mumble Room and tell us how Ohio Linux Fest went. Again, it's on December 6th. We'll have links to the webpage, and you do need to register. So all that information will be in the show notes at linuxunplugged.com/641. Well, Valve made some big news this week. They announced a whole lineup of hardware. We have a new Steam frame, an updated Steam controller, and the Steam machine is back in a new and revamped way, and they're all running Steam OS. The implications feel pretty big here.
The fact that they're all running SteamOS, I think, is the thing that jumps out at me first. This is what we were hoping for in our predictions? Did someone predict this? But that feels like quite a good thing for the Linux ecosystem.
I don't know if
kind of a doubling down from them, right? Like we had this first go around. If this was the usual like random government agency switches to Linux, then like they would have already cycled back a few times by now. But like instead, we're getting Steam Machine Take 2, but they've spent like the last decade building out a whole bunch of cool technology underneath to make it work out. Hopefully, a lot better this time. Yeah,
if it was a movie trailer or something, the subtitle would be Steam Machine 2, and the subtitle would be Lessons Learned. Right, because that's the sense I got. And I tried to devour all the interviews, and that was the sense I got, is they incorporated everything they've learned from Proton and Linux development and Steam Deck, and they realized, we would do the Steam Machine way differently now. So Gabe said, quote, "We've been super happy with the success of the Steam Deck, and PC gamers have continued asking for even more ways to play all the great titles of their Steam libraries. I will admit, I have wanted them to do more with VR. So here's, just to go over it, the 2026 lineup, which they say early 2026, is a updated Steam controller. Quite a nice update to it, actually, with magnetic sticks and new trackpads and all that. And they're including, which you're going to hear more about this, a low latency wireless dongle, which is also built in to the Steam machine.
Doesn't that seem nice? I don't know. I mean, I've only seen a couple of clips, but just the UX around it, the fit and finish, it seemed like a great idea.
Brian, I get a sense you're the most excited about the new Steam machine, which is a 6-inch cube aimed for the living room. It's got a Zen 4 processor in it. I guess that's 6 times, they say, more powerful than the Steam Deck. So it's a little box, a little Steam machine.
Considering what some listeners have done with the Steam Deck and their portability and traveling, I think, yes, this is the kind of machine you and I love, Chris. A little tiny thing you could just plunk anywhere that gets all the work done. And, oh, wait, I said work. This is a gaming machine. Wait a second.
Well, it probably does make a nice little desktop machine, too, actually.
I mean, you do love seeing them, even Steam, saying that as part of their adverts.
Yes.
I will note, just as, it's getting called the GameCube, and as a GameCube fan, the only thing I'm really missing from it is where's the nice little handle?
That does need a handle. You're right. People will
Maybe there'll be 3D, 3D printed aftermarket stuff you can get.
People will build them for sure. And this, again, made for the living room. So probably people that were Steam Deck or are Steam Deck customers and always leave it hooked up to the TV, which I guess it was 20%. I think that was the number they quoted.
Yeah, I'm wondering about that because it does feel like console targeted. I wonder how you feel about the value to money. You mentioned like a 6x factor or something, but I've seen some people a little unhappy, feeling like maybe we don't really know the full price details or anything, but just feeling like maybe this isn't going to be long-term competitive.
Yeah, that's a good question. That is a good question. I'm a little, I agree. I'm a little underwhelmed. I feel like I could build a more powerful system, but we don't know what the price is going to be.
But I guess maybe if to your point, they're targeting more casual folks, that you just want something that'll work well enough. You're not necessarily nitpicking over AAA frame rates.
What I understand is their goal was you could play the majority of the Steam library at a 4K resolution on a TV with not everything turned up, but like decent settings. And then they're going to release essentially an API that game developers can use. So when it loads on one of these Steam devices, they know which type of Steam device they're on, and they can preset the game video settings to be optimized for that machine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's one of the ways they're going to eke a little extra out of what might otherwise be slightly underwhelming specs. But the thing I think that I'm the most excited about, I'm curious to hear how you guys feel. And this is the part I think I might have predicted. As I think I predicted before we saw the next Steam Deck, we'd see them do something in VR. And now we have. It's called the Steam Frame, a lightweight, standalone streaming VR headset powered by a Snapdragon 8 ARM processor. It has eye tracking and something that Valve has called foveated streaming. So this thing is really designed to be able to stream games to it. You can also play games locally, but it's designed around the intention of streaming any game from Steam on your desktop. And the foveated streaming is something that happens after the game has been rendered on the remote PC. So the remote PC's GPU works hard. So you can have a nice fancy sucker in there, and it renders the game frames. And then just before the software sends it off to the frame that you have on your face, it spends all the time in the video and all that rendering only the part that you're looking at, because the frame is tracking your eyes. And so if you were to somehow be able to zoom out and look at the entire picture, only the exact spot you're looking at has all of the resources. And everything else is lower res, lower rendered. And so it's only doing its most computational workload exactly where you are focused. You can't tell because you're not looking anywhere else. And that is...
So does that mean it's streaming your eye tracking data back to the host rendering platform?
That's what I have to reckon. Yeah, it must be.
Wow.
That kind of data going back and forth. Very cool. And very impressive. The other thing about the frame is that it is really going to be quite customizable. The entire machine is just in the front piece, like the little tiny visor piece that pops off. And there is just going to be a world of accessories to make this thing comfortable. And I think the part that people have mentioned, but have maybe glossed over, is this is it is ARM, but it is a full Steam machine. So that means you can sideload software on this thing. And it also means that you can run Linux desktop mode on the Steam Frame, on the VR headset. They have
finally.
This is exactly what you've been asking for. How much time have you spent?
Yeah, right. How much time have you spent recreating
this? Strap a computer to my
mode?
face, he says.
Wouldn't it be sort of ironic if Valve was the one to bring this to the mainstream? Because there's devices out there that do this, and so I haven't heard a lot of people talk about this, but it did come up in an engineering chat. And I will link to the full video in the show notes, but here's the bit relevant to the Linux desktop on the frame.
For the microSD card, it's not just for SteamOS games, but any type of media content also works on that? Or you think it works as extra storage?
Media content, it's certainly your computer. So you as a computer owner can do anything you want with that data storage. We tend to think about this as a gaming device first and foremost. So while we don't restrict or limit any media options, that is very much not our focus out of the gate. We'll see what people do with it.
Yeah. I mean, I would imagine that a micro SD card formatted for SteamOS to read it, if you go to desktop mode, you'd be able to open files in there and look at it from the file browser. So.
Yeah. Does a headset render in a standard resolution, and is that configurable? Like,
well, the headset is locked to 2160 by 2160.
Steam OS, I guess. Steam VR.
Yeah, Steam VR and Steam OS, it's all dynamic.
All dynamic. Okay.
Yeah, so even when you launch desktop mode, it's less of a mode and more you hit a button and you have a desktop window, and it could be a big one or a smaller one.
Right. Okay.
That could be really neat. It could suck. But if you could bring a little high-powered ARM face computer and get a Linux desktop, a stable plasma Linux desktop, that's pretty exciting. That can also game, can also stream stuff from your other computers. That, to me, PJ, are you feeling what I'm putting down? Doesn't that feel like a compelling product from Valve? Like, and you know how Valve leaves these things open. So you, like emulators, you could sideload on an SD card. This sounds like your device.
The things I'm feeling are indescribable. Like, this thing has me so fired up. Man, the work they've done, and I kind of called this out a while back when we started seeing the rumors of, Valve is working on ARM stuff and x86 translation. And I'm like, this is headset. This is definitely headset. They're not going to do x86 for a headset. And sure enough, we got a headset. And that right there, the fact that it's running SteamOS, it's running Linux, this isn't great for gaming. They are making the Apple walled garden for gaming using open source. And that is so exciting. Nobody else is doing this. Nobody else is making a full range of hardware and software that works together for a use case, in this case gaming, that all works together really, really well. And being powered by Linux and open source is incredible. And having that compatibility layer, having it on ARM, able to run x86 software, we'll see. I don't have very high hopes for that, because you never know, but I do have high hopes that the system's going to work well for what it's intended to do, and I think it's going to overachieve the way the Steam Deck did. Like, the Steam Deck isn't the most powerful hardware, obviously we know that, but it still punches way above its weight class in terms of raw performance and raw power. And I think we're going to get the same thing here. That foveated streaming, it comes with a dedicated dongle as well. It's something people need to understand. Everyone's Wi-Fi sucks. Everybody's Wi-Fi sucks. They solved that by giving you a little router, giving you a dongle. Yep. Yeah, that was a great move. And putting everything on 6 gigahertz that matters, having 3 different radios all doing different things on the frame itself as well. Man, this is exciting. I've been wanting to get into VR for a while. I've got a computer for it now. You know, even the index has been on my site, but they never went on sale, right? So for me, it's exciting. Yeah. I'm worried about the wireless factor, but I think they've got that covered with the dedicated streaming hardware, the standalone stuff, 16 gigs of RAM. Like, it's a powerful computer on your face. Rumors to sideload APKs for Android. It's ARM, so Waydroid, stuff like that. A lot of the VR games or APKs are on Android, MetaQuest style, but open source. You're going to be able to load those. Fired up. Yeah. I also feel pretty excited about it. Of course, I'm reserving some judgment based on the price. We know we're going to have 2 versions. There'll be a 256 gigabyte and a 1 terabyte versions of the frame. The dev program is starting very soon. Kits will start going out mid-November. So probably in the next couple of weeks, you're going to start seeing these kits go out. And I think they claim the price will be lower than the index. So if it's under $1,000, man, I'm sold. It's still the Quest is still way cheaper, but pay for what you get, I guess. This is one of the big questions. But Valve, I don't know about the price, but I want to go back to something you said earlier, and that was how the deck seems to punch above its weight. We are watching Valve now having figured out the game, right? They're just like we saw with the deck with Proton. We're watching them invest in the technology stack way out ahead of time, getting the infrastructure ready at the open source level way ahead of time, and then when it's ready, bring it into their product and making something seemingly impossible possible. Before it was good Windows gaming on Linux, and now it's ARM or x86 games on ARM. And this is where FEX comes in, F-E-X. And we've talked about it very briefly on the show. It's a translation layer of sorts, right, Wes? It's kind of like an API translation layer?
Yep, FEX allows you to run x86 applications on ARM64 Linux devices, similar to what you might do with like QEMU User or Box64. And then not only can it do it just in general, but it's also meant to be used alongside things like Wine and Proton. So you can have a chance to play x86 Windows games on ARM Linux. And then it even has tricks to make that work, like it supports forwarding API calls to host system libraries like OpenGL or Vulkan. So instead of doing sort of like the dumbest layer of just emulate everything, you can sort of figure out like, oh, I could just directly translate this call without having to go through the layers of emulation. It's that you can make this work at all, let alone be performant enough to play games enjoyably. Incredible.
Yes. Yeah, really. It's something I've been meaning to try around on my my MacBook Pro. I played around with it for like 10 minutes. The part you just touched on there at the end, that it understands if a game is making an OpenGL or a Vulkan call, it doesn't need to emulate that. It can just pass that through natively. Or if it's a DirectX call that it can translate to a Vulkan call, it can do that too. But if it's a Windows game that's already using OpenGL or Vulkan, it can pass it right through to the native subsystem, which is a similar trick Apple uses with Rosetta 2 on the ARM MacBooks. You do have to have ARM 8 hardware, but this is where Valve has this long-term thinking, building out these open source projects. Now they have total control over the OS, the software environment that makes it possible, and the hardware. It, like Jeff was kind of saying, it's almost the Apple ecosystem of gaming hardware in the sense that they can optimize everything in that entire stack. And even after it ships, they can continue to optimize it, like we've seen with the deck. The deck got better after it came out. It got faster after it came out. Games ran better, more games after it came out. And that was just them issuing software updates. And so they have that whole stack, and they have FEX to emulate x86 programs on ARM in a way that isn't miserable. And of course, we'll see. But this, to me, is one of the absolute missing pieces, because when I run Linux ARM, which I do pretty frequently, everything's a web app for me. So few things are x86. And if this could be expanded to run other programs down the future, sort of like you can with Wine and Proton, boy, because you can use it alongside with Wine and Proton, of course. You have to be able to. It's just very exciting. And to see them kind of put all this in there together, I think the ultimate result down the road will be it may become too prohibitive for these game vendors to use this horrible anti-cheat software. Because if 20% of your player base is on Steam hardware at some point in the future, then you're going to have to do something that lets them play your game on their hardware, because that's a big customer base at that point. And this is sort of happening in a broader context of the gaming ecosystem, where Xbox is kind of pulling back. The consoles are sort of tired. This is a really nice value proposition. And if on top of this, we can build out more and more users running these games on Linux, on Steam hardware, these game manufacturers they're going to have to respond, right? They're going to have to. Because anti-cheat, to me, seems like the biggest problem still for these devices, right?
Yeah, I feel like... Go ahead, Jeff.
Just totally agree. The developers need to get on board. Everybody, there's a lot of news like, oh, Steam, Valve is a monopoly, and Steam's a monopoly in the gaming sphere. It's like, well, there's no competition. Step up your game and actually compete in that aspect. And the anti-cheat stuff is a big part of it. Valve kind of lets the developers do what they want to do in a lot of ways, and they just lay it out. It's like, hey, do you want to be on our platform? Do you want to play your games on this great selling hardware? Then it's got to run on Linux. So you got to get rid of that anti-cheat. And I'm really, really hoping that game developers step it up and go that way as well, especially now that we have even more hardware to play those games on.
I'm trying to think of who the ideal customer is for this, Brent. Who do you think the ideal customer is? For the Steam machine, not so much for the frame, but for the Steam machine, that kind of console thing.
Well, I think it's me and you, to be honest.
Yeah,
like,
maybe, huh?
I hesitate to buy consoles because I'm not that much of a gamer. I used to be. There's a nostalgia there, but I don't know. Every time I've tried to, set up a system, it's hoops to jump through. But having a little mini PC that I could use in place of the mini PC I bought last year, for instance, but also have it just like be work all the time, 100% of the time for some gaming when I do want to jump in, that could totally convert my sort of the way that I've been a gamer, but am no longer a gamer. So this may convert a lot of people into gaming, which for Valve, I would imagine is a good thing. You know, they're reaching out on the edges of their current customer base and potentially converting new people to gaming, especially gaming on their platforms. I'm tempted for the first time in decades, I have to say.
It's ideal for people like you and me that either live on laptops or B-Links. So it's nice to have but also I was thinking of, we hear more and more people that are leaving Windows with Windows 11 frustrations and the end of Windows 10 support. And this just seems like another license to leave Windows now. You can go get your framework, you can go get your MacBook or whatever it is, if that's the way you're going, and you can still get access to your library of PC games. And now you can just let Valve handle it. Or somebody else, right? Nothing prohibits somebody else from coming along. But to me, that feels pretty powerful. And I think just as the Steam Deck has moved the needle a little bit more for Linux gaming, I think so will the frame and the Steam machine. And hopefully the long-term result is these anti-cheats go away.
I do have a question for you, Chris.
Okay.
If on day of release, you know, let's say you decided to buy something, but you had to choose between the frame and the Steam machine, which one would you go for?
Oh, 100% the frame.
Uh-huh. I was hoping you'd say that. Yeah. Say more, please.
Well, you know, I've always dreamed of I've dreamed of a decent VR headset that would let me get work done in the RV with essentially either a ginormous screen. And so what, of course, I've just ended up doing is I tried the Quest for a while, but the issue there is you have to run this client software and all that, and it can break. And so I got an ultra wide screen, but it's a ridiculously oversized monitor for the space. So what would be great is to have my laptop at home or something, and then when I need the big space, I put the frame on. And if the frame is a computer itself, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty powerful. I don't really want to stream my desktop. I mean, I might. Maybe I will like that. But I love the idea of a persistent workspace in the frame. My local user data is there, and I can just pull it up in a window in a space. Maybe have multiple windows even one day. That, to me, would be probably more useful than a gaming computer. But I know I'm a weird one. That's just odd. I'd like to actually punt that to the audience. And I'd like to ask you out there, what's your reaction to the Valve news? And are you in the market for one of these in 2026? And what do you think the pricing is going to be for the frame and the Steam machine? Boost in and let us know your reaction, if you're going to get one, and what you think the pricing will be. Or send us an email.
Or what your price level is, maybe. Where do you need it to be if you're going to pick one up?
My question is how comfortable would you, and be realistic, you know, because it's never as cheap as we really want. Are you ready, boys? Ready?
One password. All right. Okay. Come on, Fiber, don't let me down.
Not ready.
Okay, then get the Unplugged in there. One password. Okay, you ready? Ready?
Ready?
Okay, ready.
3, 2, 1, go. Loaded.
Oh, you didn't cheat this time.
I got it.
I think I got it first.
No, there's latency in my audio.
I don't know if I trust him. When I'm not in the studio, like, he could be pressing that at any time.
That's true. But you can kind of see it in my face when the screen loads.
I think we should all have to use some sort of authenticating proxy that will record the time that our browser makes the request.
Like a central one. Yeah, that's a great idea. All right, yeah, we got to get this. We got to get this scientific. All right, you can support the show. Go to onepassword.com/unplugged. Okay, here we go. We're coming back to you, Brent. Enter.
Now, with all that talk of hardware, of course, we're constantly working on our own hardware in our home lab setups. I know for a good part of the summer and even into this fall, we were setting up the Home Assistant in my van, and that has turned out wonderfully. Jeff, thanks for the hardware again. I don't know why you gave it away. It's great. That said, Chris, we haven't really done any upgrades to your setup, but you, in the last few episodes, have kind of hinted that you need a new box. And it so turns out we have amazing listeners, and listener Alex sent a previously loved Lenovo ThinkCentre M920Q, which is a little tiny 1-liter PC. We have to try it out and put it to the task. And, well, wasn't there a note in that box too, Chris?
There was. Alex included a note in the box. I always really appreciate that. So I gotta get it. I'm going to read
Wait, that sounds like you have the map there.
Similar. It's not quite as big. Doesn't have all the dynamic tiles that Wes has added. But
okay.
Alex writes, "Hey, Chris, Wes, and Brent. Glad I could help out the show. Inside the box, you're going to find a Lenovo ThinkCentre M920Q. It's running 32 gigs of RAM, a 1 terabyte NVMe, a 250 gig SSD that might still have Windows hanging around on it, and the power brick's in there too. I decided to add some fun extras for my tinkering. There's a PCI riser card that exposes the PCIe 3.08x slot, so you can drop proper PCIe cards in. I used it with a gigabit Ethernet card when I was experimenting with the system as a pfSense box, and then later tried a secondary NVMe drive. Both worked well. I even tested the NVMe adapter in place of the Wi-Fi card. It was functionalish." He says, "While digging through the parts bin, I found an unopened Sky Connect Zigbee adapter from when it was first launched. Chris, I remember your Zigbee adventures. Maybe this one plays nice. I've since moved to PoE gear, so it's all yours. And because I can't stand shipping a box with empty space, I tossed in a few Kafu smart plugs that work great with ESP Home.
Nice.
I've gone mostly in-wall for my setup, so these need a better home. Oh, and these tiny skeletons I've included, those are left over from our annual Halloween gifts that I 3D printed. They just felt like they belonged in there. You probably don't see my name pop up in the boost, but I've been a monthly member for a long time. Always in the background, tuning in every week. Monday mornings start with Linux Unplugged for me. Anyways, hope you enjoy the hardware, or at least some laughs out of the gear. And hey, the ATL is absolutely ripe for a live show." Appreciate everything you guys do. Thanks, Alex.
Thank you, Alex.
This is awesome.
These smart plugs are great that he included. I'm going to set a couple aside for you, Wes, so you can play with these too. And they, I don't know if they came preloaded with, they come preloaded with ESP Home, and it's an ESP8266 in here. And because of that, it has full energy monitoring, which I love.
That is awesome.
The workflow is dead simple with these. I'll put a link to them in the show notes. You plug them in, they create a little AP. You join that. The first thing that comes up is it has a CAPTCHA, but the CAPTCHA is just select your Wi-Fi, your real Wi-Fi network. And so you do that, and then it reboots, and it's on your Wi-Fi. And then about 2 seconds later, Home Assistant auto detects it.
Excellent.
It pulls it in, and I'm off to the races with energy monitoring, all the stuff. It's just so great. So KAUF.
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, and they're Wi-Fi based, but they're not like a proprietary, right? It's ESP Home.
Nice.
I like that somehow, I think listener Alex's like the secondhand stuff is better than plenty of firsthand stuff.
That's very true.
I need a parts bin like that.
Yeah. Thank you, Alex. Very, very appreciative. And even knowing how small these boxes are, I was still surprised when I took it out of the box, and it's slightly larger than my hand. Is really the size of the thing. It's remarkable.
It's 1 liter, Chris. It's in the name.
I know. But still, actually holding it was shocked. Plenty of ports on here. It's got your display ports, your HDMIs. It's got some USB. And, of course, it's got an Ethernet jack, a little Wi-Fi antenna sticking out the back. And then it has a real DC power plug, which I'm very excited about for the future. And, there's a little rattle. So I wasn't sure if it maybe got a little damaged in shipping. And once I held it in my little hands, I was like, "Oh, this is very exciting. This is actually a great idea." Thank you, everybody who's sent these ideas in. So I hooked it up as fast as I could, and I just booted like the latest Ubuntu ISO on here using Ventoy.
And wait! You didn't check out the rattling first?
Well, that's how I checked it out. Does it work?
Well done, sir. Well done.
It works. Okay, then the rattle's not a problem.
No Ventoy issues that worked as expected? Okay, good.
Thankfully, Ventoy works great on there. And it has, on the front, very handy, not only does it have a USB-A, but it has a USB-C as well. So when you on that Ventoy dongle I have, it's like a little SSD in there. So it's very fast over USB-C. You could just use the system that way. So I booted up in Ubuntu and went through just the live session. And everything got detected. The Ethernet picked up an IP address just fine. The disks were in there and all of that. Was able to browse the web. So I went ahead and just repartitioned it since gparted comes on the live session. And I love gparted. Went through and cleared out the main NVMe. Didn't bother with the Windows. I figured I'd just mess with that disk later. and cleared it all out, and then, rebooted and started the installation process for a server. And what we ended up with is pretty nice, of course. This little Think Center is a decent little box in here. It's got a i5 8500T, and it's got 6 threads. And like the note mentioned, 32 gigs of RAM in this, which is going to be great. Because ultimately, I'm trying to consolidate a Home Assistant Yellow and maybe a couple of Pis, or one Pi and an Odroid, down into one machine. So it's going to be a lot on this machine. And I think I'm going to be running Home Assistant potentially, although I'm not 100% locked in, inside of VM. So I set up a NixOS base on this thing and got KVM installed and had Wes start poking around. We thought about a couple of different ways to virtualize Home Assistant OS, kind of ultimately went KVM libvirt. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of options, right? You're almost spoiled for options. I've been keen to try systemd VM spawn more, although that's very new, and it didn't seem like the USB pass-through stuff was really as sophisticated as we might want specifically for trying to virtualize something like Home Assistant. LexD, or the fork now Incus, is another good option. That does have robust pass-through options. But you'd kind of gotten a base config going, and out of the box in NixOS, it's really quite easy to get KVM going. We could just use QEMU, but if you want a little more affordances, a little more options for like tools to work with stuff that isn't just your own custom QEMU script, well, libvirt's a pretty standard option. It does mean, you kind of got to go and interact with its world, right? Like it has XML files that it wants to make, and you got to like make your VM storage pools and tell it about how you want the networking to work. But the plus side is it's got all kinds of affordances to do that in a whole bunch of like enterprise complicated ways that are way more than we actually need. And so it meant really like we were able to use NixOS to create the basic bridge setup we wanted, which in particular, you wanted to have Home Assistant VM appear as if it was just like another box on your local network, so it could really easily talk to all of your devices, right?
Yeah, because it auto discovery is a huge part of the Home Assistant setup. A lot of the new Home Assistant devices that they make just auto broadcast. So that was something that was definitely needed, and we'd had some reports of people that had tried virtualizing it on, I think, Proxmox, and they had some issues with the USB pass-through not always working. Thankfully, Alex included that SkyConnect dongle, so we had something to test right there. I'll also note, it seems like the Home Assistant blessed path is KVM libvirt if you're going to virtualize Home Assistant OS. All their documentation kind of pushes you down that path.
It did feel well supported. It would maybe be another way to put it, right? Like, yeah, the docs make it super simple. They have like QCO images ready to go, which is pretty great. So in that sense, it was a very smooth process really to get it going and then be able to connect to it and see it. And we're able to use the NixOS side for, later you might like bake this stuff in with add-ons or whatnot, but we were able to bootstrap Tailscale access and set up some basic sort of port forwarding and stuff so we could get in and talk to the VM either via the LAN or via Tailscale, and it all pretty much worked. I don't think it hasn't really been tried in aggregate yet. It's really a demo setup, but I don't know. What do you think? Do you have enough confidence to like try it in production?
I was pleased to see that I could do a firmware update of the SkyConnect through the virtualized Home Assistant instance. That seemed like a good sign there. So that's definitely, that's got me feeling more confident. I want to hook up a few more USB devices and, like you say, actually try it with a few things. To me, I think I also have to like somehow simulate GPU load, and like I need to simulate my load without maybe spending hours moving all of my applications over, because I really want to see this thing under kind of a sustained base load, what its power draw is.
Right.
Because that's
especially if you're going to load up the host too, and you've got your VM going. Is that going to maintain responsiveness to all the home automation you're doing?
Right.
And then, yeah, right. You haven't even, I think, dabbled yet fully with exactly what even the baseline power draw is.
And that would be my concern, is that the home automation stuff or the responsiveness suffers when maybe like, we're doing a big jellyfin job or something. Before we move too far off of Home Assistant OS, you guys know I love Home Assistant and I really respect the work they do over there. But my God, if you want an experience in frustration, I challenge you, listening to this episode, go download the Home Assistant image for KVM libvirt. go to their webpage. Don't Google it, but go to their Home Assistant webpage like a regular user would and try to download the image. And boost in your results. Tell me if you got it. I'll zap you back if you actually manage to find it through their website. That's rough. So that to me was like, I'm not even sure if I'm getting the right thing and all of that. I actually downloaded the wrong image the first time and then went back and like, oh, nope, this is where I get the QCAL file. Okay, they have something already set up. I need to grab that. It was a lot of reading to still even end up with the wrong file. And that's a little disappointing because the experience if you just buy their hardware where it comes loaded with Home Assistant is the exact opposite. It's just so smooth. It's so easy. I was surprised by that. But so ultimately, I need to figure out a way to test Jellyfin and Ursats and the whole RAR stack. Of course, things like Nextcloud need to be able to run on there. Audio Bookshelf, Music Assistant. I mean, I just have a litany. I mean, you can go over the back catalog of the show. I have probably something like 30 applications running on this thing.
But you just have your Nix config you can move over, right?
They're all mostly Docker, because this is from years ago, which feels a little, when you have like 30 Docker applications, that feels kind of just like sprawl. I know where most of the application data is, but probably not. About 20% of it would be my guess.
Right. Probably a few of them have it just in a folder right there. A few of them are using Docker volumes. Some of them are using bind mounts to a regular spot on your file system.
Yes. Exactly.
And then a couple other random stuff. Who knows?
And then, yeah. And then to really make it all work, I'd have to move the storage over. And I'm not ready to commit yet because I'm not sure if all of this under actual load works. So I'm trying to think of a way to simulate GPU load, simulate disk activity, and moderate CPU load that I would feel confident that that's a decent estimation, and maybe some download. You know what I mean? Like, I need to think of that and then check the power draw and then determine if it's a same or less than all my other hardware combined. That's where I'm kind of at with it now. But I'm very impressed with these 1-liter PCs. If you weren't concerned about the power at all, it's so obvious. I mean, we were, let's just say I never felt like it was slow. I never had, I do sometimes feel like that with the Odroid, and it definitely.
Yeah, you and I were both like simultaneously kind of banging away, working on stuff, doing NixOS builds without even telling each other. And yeah, it was doing just fine.
I would imagine this thing has a fan in it, which your other computers don't.
Right.
So I'm curious about audible levels because you're going to have this tucked away in the RV somewhere. Are you worried about that in any way?
I never heard it spin up. It would be in the booth, so I don't think it'd be too big of a problem. If it did spin up, I don't think it'd be too bad.
Nice.
So I'm ultimately dedicating right now the 256 gigabyte SSD that came in there, the separate disk that came in there. I'm dedicating that to the KVM VM storage pool, and I've decided to format it in Bcachefs. And if I put this thing in production, I intend to keep it as Bcachefs. And I feel good about it. I reviewed like some ideal mount options for a Bcachefs file system. Nothing too surprising in there. I did turn compress on because, these are VM images. Some of them have large sparse sections. I turned on no access time and things like that to just try to improve overall performance. But I didn't tell you ahead of time that I was going to do that, Wes.
No, you did not. I actually first noticed because there was kind of a weird, I think you'd run into some problems as you were trying mount options.
Yeah.
So there was like an artifact from some of your vibe coding that left like a system script that was doing the mount. So one of the first things I did was clean that up and I mounted like a regular file system.
Well, what I wanted was I was researching the mount options. And this is just a great thing because you can go out and do it for me. But the one I decided to YOLO, because it was like, this is something you could try, and I decided to try to brute force it, is Bcachefs. Not only does it have compress, which is dope, and everybody should use for their NASs and SSDs and stuff, but it has background compress, which I think is obvious what that does, right? It's when the system isn't as busy, when there's some spare cycles, then it attends to the compressing. Well, that sounds exactly like what I want, right? Who wants this crazy compress at write and read? No, do it in the background. So I went ahead and said, yeah, let's throw that in there, which then I rebooted the system and got the emergency console. It almost came all the way up. And then I got the emergency console. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, okay, all right. So I go in and the solution that the machine came up with, because I wanted to keep the background compressed because that's a dope option, is I had the machine try to mount the file system at a different point so it wouldn't take the system out if it doesn't work. And I used systemd to do that. Well, it was still kicking errors when it tried to mount the file system. So ultimately, I wasn't getting a reliable mount. It just wasn't taking the system out. So I had to capitulate, and I took the background compress out for now. But it still has compression on. But I'm
just excited because now you're kind of like keyed in. You'll be following the Bcache updates that I keep sending your way, and you can try more of the features as they keep landing.
Although, so we're working on this thing, Wes and I, and I got it pretty far, but I had to step away for like 3 or 4 hours on Saturday for kid stuff, and I come back, and Wes is like, "By the way, I switched it over to the Zen kernel." I'm like, "Oh, good. And, it's funny is that
I figured you'd want that.
It crossed my mind. It had crossed my mind, but then I'm like, no, that's too crazy for a server. I'm not going to do that for my server. I want this thing's going to be a VM host. I need to be an adult. Maybe I should even use the LTS kernel." I'm thinking to myself, especially if I got Bcachefs. And then I come back and was like, "Yeah, I zened it up. Totally latest version." Click right on the edge. I'm like, "All right, we're going with it. Let's do it."
Yeah, that's right. 6.17.7-Zen1.
Why not? It might help with the overall Jellyfin performance. We do have NF tables on there for a few things like Wes was talking about. Btrfs on the root. So my root file system for the host is not Bcache. That's just for the VMs. The root is still Butter. But I do have automatic scrubbing and weekly trims for the SSD and NVMe, both on Bcachefs and Btrfs. Like Wes said, we went with KVM and libvirt, and we bridged the VM to the local network, and just sort of were able to declare all of that in the NixOS config. I would love feedback from the audience on this. Bear in mind, I'm coming from a Home Assistant Yellow. It has like 2 gigs of RAM and, like a Raspberry Pi 4 processor. But I'm thinking 4 gigs of RAM is probably enough, but that's a bit I'd like feedback on, and 2 virtual CPUs.
I think those values came from their install guide. They had some like default sort of like, run this virt install command to kind of get started. And so we've started there. But I wonder, like, it sounds like Jeff might be using this. Maybe other audience members have tried it out.
I may have. Now I'm thinking about it, I think I actually upped it to 8 gigs in the actual config. I might have upped it to 8 gigs. I think
Excellent.
I went 8 gigabytes of RAM, 2 CPUs dedicated. And I'd like feedback from the audience if that seems to be sufficient for Home Assistant OS, where I'm going to have a handful of a dozen add-ons probably and stuff like that, and probably 300 devices talking to it.
You might be able to flash ESPs now. Congratulations.
That's what I'm hoping is I'll have enough memory.
Oh, we got to test that.
I know. It's a tight line to walk here because Home Assistant's just one of the many, many things this box would end up doing. And so if this was only doing Home Assistant, I just let it, eat up a lot of the RAM. But I do need to actually, so I don't know if I'm throwing things away with 8 gigs or 4 gigs like Home Assistant recommends is the sweet spot. The problem is at one point they recommended 2, and here I am, I'm bumping up against that all the time.
A little bird in our chat says maybe this machine can actually take 64 gigs despite being advertised as 32. So that might solve your issue.
Great Scott. And then I am going to use the Sky Connect, I believe, for my Zigbee. And I think I'm going to use the ZWA2, whatever that fancy Home Assistant new Z-Wave adapter is for the Z-Wave stuff. Although that makes a lot more work. It's a lot easier if I just move the existing adapters. But I may just have to bite that bullet. I'm not sure.
Yeah, so far it seemed like the USB pass-through worked just fine. Like we definitely saw it inside Home Assistant, saw it and all that. We haven't tried it, like in terms of actually talking over the radio or anything. But hey,
firmware flash though. Firmware flash. So I haven't got.
Right. So that was a good sign.
I haven't got a good sense of the power readings. That's what I'm going to be spending my time on over the next, between now and the next episode, just kind of getting a sense of what the power usage is. The thing that I have to really just underscore for me that's such a big deal is that it does natively have a DC plug on the back. So down the road, I could just take the AC adapter out of the picture entirely. And for me, that's a pretty big deal. It could be a nice little savings because inverting that, the way the inverter works is the less amount that it's inverting, the worse the efficiency is. So when something like that's only drawing 20, 30 watts, I lose like 40% in the inversion. It's actually really rough. And whereas if I just go straight to DC, there's no efficiency loss there. So that's something I'll be thinking about, but I'm very, very impressed with the 1-liter PC, especially this little Lenovo. And just took Linux like a champ. Absolutely no problem getting Linux on there. Total compatibility. All the devices work. And the performance seems to be really good. So this is, I'd say, best case scenario for me. And I'm extremely grateful for Alex for sending this in. We're going to keep building on it. And probably not next week, but in the future, a little bit down the road, I'll have an update once I've really tried it and put it through its paces.
Stay tuned for Chris's 1-liter Power Pulse.
Join crowdhealth.com. Use promo code Unplugged. You get health insurance. Well, not health insurance. You get health insurance alternative for $99 a month at CrowdHealth. Join crowdhealth.com. And also unraid.net/unplugged. They got their Black Friday sale coming up. We got the Black Friday sale coming up on the 28th. You get like 20% off licenses and stuff, but I can't tell you that right now because it's not Black Friday right now. But if I were going to tell you, that's what I would tell you. But I'm not telling you that. You didn't hear it from me. So there's your pro tips. All right, I've hit the wall.
Hey, you know what helps? You know what helps with that?
You know what we
Boost.
forgot to do? I don't even have the boost. I don't even have Helipad up. We forgot to mention that we're low on boosts.
Oh, yeah, we didn't do that.
We didn't do that. So nobody had a chance to boost in to help save the show. And now I don't have Helipad up for some reason. Because it's not loading, I guess. That's why. I don't know why. So it's really gone off the rails, just as I've gotten really tired.
All right, I got it up. That doesn't help with the dings.
It doesn't help with. Yeah, I got it. I'm pulling it from another node.
I can make a ding sound.
I think if somebody were to boost in, I think it would make noise if they boosted in. I don't have my phone, but I would test.
Test it out and find out.
You could, if you want to save the show during the boost segment with a live boost. Now's your chance. Okay.
Mr. Bustin with happiness seeing you again.
Yeah, I'm very happy. All right, here we go. Brent, you can set us up for the boost in 3, 2.
Welcome to the boost segment. We first have Marcel here, Baller Booster, with 22,444 sats. Marcel boosted our episode 640, Deuce Configalo Desktop Gigolo. Thank you for that. He says, I tried to boost a config confessions related message, but it was too long. I sent it in via the contact page instead, but I still wanted to send in some value.
Thank you, Marcel. I have that tagged for the post show because it's kind of in depth. So I don't know if we're going to get into it in the show, but I have it saved for us. I went and grabbed his email. Thank you, Marcel. Dydrell's here with 3,661 sats.
Coming in hot with the boost.
Well, I messed up something with Fountain, so sorry about my username. But after a 6.5 on my config, I wanted to say thank you. Also, this is a zip code boost, but it has to be multiplied by 15. Oh,
whoa.
Boy. Yeah, get your calculator out and then grab the map there, Wes.
Does the map even have a calculator module? I don't know if I kept that in.
Brent could loan you one.
I think the map has Python, so you could just use that.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
You're right. Yeah, it definitely has a Python interpreter.
3661 times 15.
Yes, zip code is a better deal.
That's right.
The post office, can I leave the equation on there and they'll figure out what zip code I'm talking about?
Do they have an LLM that'll do that for you? Because,
Yeah, as they're scanning, and doing the fingerprint,
Okay.
We get 54915.
Okay.
And that is a zip code assigned to Appleton, Wisconsin.
Hey, hello, Wisconsin.
Yeah, it covers areas in a few different counties, including Winnebago.
Although apples are our thing, so get out of our thing, Appleton.
Don't make us fight about apples.
You don't want Washington fighting about apples. Woo! Thank you, Nigel. Nice to hear from you, and thank you for that boost.
BTC is my 401k boost in with 4,590 sats.
Put some macaroni and cheese on there, too.
Elevation boost, boosting from my mountain home in Southern California. Oh, fun.
Do you get snow up there at 4,590 feet in California? In Southern California? I'm genuinely curious. In Southern California, do you get snow at that elevation? I don't know how the earth works. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I don't know why.
Yeah, hello up there. Thank you for the boost.
Why? What is it about the idea of living up in elevation sounds so appealing to me? I don't know what that is, but I love it.
Because it's been a while since you've moved a couch.
I've lived at sea level for too long.
Jeff, guy on the floor. Do you know if they get snow up there?
Yeah, they do.
There you go.
Depends
and
on
that's
where
Jeff
he's at,
with the
but
weather.
Yeah. You got Big Bear. You got all those mountainous areas over there. I got snow at about 3,700 feet in Hesperia, California, back in the day.
PJ with the weather. Thank you, PJ.
Well, Badu High sent in a boost, 2,001 sats.
Oh my God, this drawer is filled with Fruit Loops.
Hey, I was user 75 from last episode, and yes, you guys got that postal code right, and yes, the weather was pretty nice that day.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like it. We got it right. Also, a little clarification there on your question. Yeah. Brazilian
says, to Brent's question there on the postal codes, Brazilian postal codes do have this long but simple format with a dash that can identify an address right down to the street. That is why I didn't send my actual postal code. It's way too precise.
Good thinking.
And he finishes up here. Looks like I missed my chance for the addition of Config Confessions, but it was my fault. I did submit it pretty late.
Yeah.
I guess I'll wait for next year's Config Confessions.
Missed it by that much. Sorry about that. Thank you for the boost, though. Anonymous comes in with a row Dux. 2,222 sats. It was awesome seeing y'all at Texas Linux Fest. I wanted to join in the Config Confessions. This is my first ever Git repo, and I just recently moved to using Flakes about 2 months ago. Things are a bit messy. I'm also currently working on adding my other hosts, and I'll add the host README to change it when I do. All right, we'll tag that for the post show as well for the members. Thank you, Anonymous, or perhaps TIE Fighter, and good job getting your first Git repo going. As Brent will tell you.
And working with Flakes.
That's true, yeah. Well done. Well effing done.
Jasco comes in with 5,000 sats.
This is a tasty burger.
With all the fun around the Config Confessions, I think it would be cool if LUP hosted a sort of hackathon. Maybe announce a theme or a couple categories a few weeks before the show and have you guys roast our projects. Maybe in place of the Tuxies? It certainly has that same community engagement aspect anyway. Hey, now you're noodling. This is an interesting idea.
Especially if we did like a home lab thing where like if people had a home lab project they've been wanting to get done, we could do like a 2-week sprint. And then at the end, they send us their setups and we give them a review and tell them how they did. You know, so it's their excuse to finally buckle down and just get something done. I want to, because I do that. I have like projects.
Artificial deadline, a thing to meet, push for. Yeah.
If that's something people would like, you know, I don't know. We need a name for it. We need a good name. And if we get a good name, if somebody sends a good name, that's a sign we should do it, I think. Thank you, Jasco. That's a pretty good idea. I like that. I like that.
Well, our dear Gene Bean is here with a row of ducks. Hey, y'all. Pinch Flat is awesome. I know you mentioned it many times, but it's so much nicer than I even realized. As a bonus, integrated the containerized version of Jellyfin that comes from Nix packages, and that was pretty straightforward. And he links to, Gene Bean links to his GitHub repo.
Well done, Gene Bean. I'm glad you got a chance to try it out. The real sweet spot.
It's pretty great. Gene's links right to the actual pull request and diff that kind of shows like updating the secrets for it and adding a NixOS file that sets up OCI containerization to declaratively run the container.
Nice.
I think where it really clicks with Pinch Flat is when you pull it up in Jellyfin or Plex and it looks equivalent to all your other media, but it's the stuff on YouTube. And now you don't have to go down the YouTube rabbit hole and get sucked into a whole bunch of stuff. You just go in there, you're playing it locally through your media center where you watch all your other content, and it just integrates with the rest of the stuff you watch. I think it's great. Thank you, Gene. Good to hear from you. Woodland Geeks is here with 4,321 sats. Hello.
I like you. You're a hot ticket.
Hey, finally got to boost. Hey-oh, good for you. The UTAR app at the end of last show was on point. I have been looking for something like this. I got it working yesterday, and I had a couple of setup glitches, but the creator was Johnny on the spot with the GitHub issues. Oh, that's always so great.
That's rad.
And an area where free software can sometimes really shine. You don't want to put expectations on the developer, but you're just never going to get that from, Microsoft or something. That's great. Love to hear that. Thank you, Woodland.
Odor comes in with 18,500 sats.
Good news, everyone.
Hi there, long-time listener, first-time caller.
All right.
Nice.
I wanted to highlight a Linux conference close to my heart, Ohio Linux Fest, happening Saturday, December 6th.
Mm-hmm.
I've attended for over a decade, but attendance has dropped the last few years. I'm hoping to boost awareness here in the colony. It's affordable, fun, and I've certainly made new connections there. And maybe with some support, it'll return to the 2 or 3 day event it once was. Check it out at ulfconference.org.
And you know what? It was because of your boost, Hodor, when I saw this, or Hodor, when this came in earlier, I was like, putting that in the housekeeping. So it's something we always like to do, but sometimes it's just not on our radar. And I appreciate you giving it the awareness. We're going to give it a plug here, and we'll have a link in the show notes for people in the area to go check it out.
And maybe, for folks that do, report back, let us know how it went, because we wish we could be there.
Well, we got a row of ducks from Southern Fried Sassafras. I loved config trek into the desktop. I mean, deuce configulo desktop gigolo. Well, I know I didn't include it in the boost just to make one of you say it again. I'd never do something like that. In all seriousness, +1 for a part 3 of the Config Confession series at some point. Now, to jump back to the past and catch up on that backlog, I wonder who will end up winning the race to Texas.
Don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. You'll never believe what happened next.
The tracker did have a bug in it, just saying.
Oh. This is new. He's rolling this out.
A very late reported bug, let me just say.
Now the bug field kicks in. WH 2020-50 comes in with 4,444 sats. That's a big old McDuck.
Quacka wacka, it's a treasure. Yippee!
Quick PSA for Unraid users. Remember to back up your flash drive, not just your data pools. I just upgraded to 7.2, and on reboot, my flash drive died. Oh, man. After way too long refusing to admit it was dead, I finally grabbed a new one, only to find my backup was a year old. Fortunately, Unraid is awesome, and all my VMs and containers still loaded up and ran. However, any container I set up after the backup didn't have a template, so it would not update. Luckily, all I had to do was remove the template and reinstall it from the community app, and then it picked right back up with all my data still intact. This is also a time traveler boost. I'm going through the back catalog, so greetings from episode 25.
What? That's a typo, right?
It's fun to listen to all the old stuff with the benefit of hindsight. Yeah, it is. Oh, boy, man, yeah. I love that on Unraid, all that stuff is separate from your data, so you can just allocate all your disks. But you got to back those flash disks, those flash drives. I just don't trust them, not long term. But they're thankfully very easy to duplicate, make an image of, etc. Right? So there's that. Thank you for the report. Appreciate it very much, WH. Good to hear from you, and hope to hear from you in the future.
Oh, and this last one was me. We could probably just skip that.
I was wondering who that was.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Okay, all right. All right. Yeah, all right. Okay, then that brings us to... And that is all of the 2,000 and above boosts for this episode. And a shout out to our SAT streamers. 19 of you streamed, and you collectively stacked 25,467 sats to support this here show. When you combine that with all our boosters, we almost broke 100K sats, 99,094 sats. And when you do the math, that gets split equally between myself, Wes, Brent. A bit goes to editor Drew. A bit goes to the podcast app and the index. That's a pretty low haul. Although slightly picked up by a live boost by PJ. Although it didn't fire the sound like I wanted. I was hoping for a live boost sound, but credit goes to PJ with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sats.
So the combination is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, no, it's True Grits. PJ was just saying he wanted to hear the pew sound with 14,000 sats. True Grits had the Spaceballs boost. Surprise, surprise. I'm still making my way up to current episodes. Lesson for everybody. Do not ever get behind. There you go. And Jeff just says, I want to hear the pew sound. So here you go. There you go, Jeff. Thank you, everybody. Not a fantastic episode, but you know what? We really do appreciate the direct support. This is a wild system. It's using a free software stack. It's using a peer-to-peer monetary system. But the boosts are on sale right now. So if you've been thinking about it, now could be a great time to dip in. Best price of the year right now to boost us. And you also have that membership. If you just want to set it and forget it, linuxunplugged.com/membership. Thank you to everybody who does support the show. This is something that's been going on now for 12 years. It's a bit of an odd phenomenon, if you think about it, in the media space. And to have something going for 12 years that's totally aligned to its audience, I think it's something special, and it's something we should keep going, and we appreciate everybody who does make it sustainable and does make it possible. Here's your taco. We appreciate you very much. One little bit before we run is one pick this week. One pick, but it's a good one. We've mentioned this a long time on the show. It's called Easy Effects. It's had other names, but it's a limiter, compressor, equalizer, helps with volume in general for your desktop applications, or maybe a video or a podcast that you're listening to that doesn't have very good levels, or the host levels are all over the place. You can turn Easy Effects on, and it's like having a sound technician for your desktop audio. And just recently, and the reason why we're giving it a mention is not only is it just a great application that you should have, but with the recent release, the whole application was ported from GTK4 to a combination of Qt, QML, and the Kirigami frameworks. So it's got a brand new, fresh release. It's on FlatHub as well. And it's one of our favorites.
It's so good. It's so good. It's only gotten better. It's easier to use now. It's more automatic. This is a huge update, so clearly they're like able to keep shipping and iterating. And yeah, like the ThinkPad I use for show stuff, it has abysmal speakers. Easy Effects is basically the only way that I can really manage to use them at all.
I will say, no shame, but a lot of the free software events that I watch that are streamed, they always have like really low audio or a buzz. And you got Firefox up or whatever, you're watching the video stream, you open up Easy Effects, you turn it on, and you can start moving dials, and you can take something that's barely audible right up to something you can actually manage. It's just fantastic. It works with Pipewire. It's got lots of little knobs. Honestly, it's the kind of app that Mac users brag about all the time, and it's something we have right here for Linux. It should get more attention. It's got a nice little visualizer, too. So you get the audio spectrum. Easy Effects 8.0. You can get it from GitHub, or you can get it from FlatHub. It's a great project, and I had no idea they were porting it to Qt, but suits me.
No, me either. But, as a Plasma user, I'm here for it.
Suits us just fine. Links to that and everything else are over at linuxunplugged.com/641. Now, if you missed something or you want to jump around, Wes, you got a power tip for people, something they can really take advantage of.
The magic of cloud chapters. Yeah, that's right. A JSON file magically delivered from us to you. It tells your podcast player where to go in the file.
Yep.
And if you need even more specificity, we've got transcripts in SRT and VTT format, so pick your favorite.
Yeah, depending on your player, you may even get the speaker names. And for those of you that are on Podcasting 1.0 apps, we will bake the chapters in for the applications that support it. And some of them, like Apple Podcasts, now are adding transcript support as well. So some of the 1.0 apps are starting to, and I have to say, those are from the Podcasting 2.0 standard, which is really great to see. So the stuff that we've been producing for years now on all of our shows is just immediately available to all Apple Podcast users because Apple is implementing the Podcasting 2.0 standard. I don't love that app, but it's really cool to see that happen. So, and
power of open source and open standards.
Yeah, it's neat to see it happen in the podcast space. And if you get one of those 2.0 apps that have all the stuff, you can get them over at newpodcastapps.com. Then you can tune in live and you can listen to us on Tuesday on a Sunday.
See you next week. Same bad time, same bad station.
Yeah, that's right. You can also join our lug. That's another way to listen and get in on the conversation. We get together every single Sunday at 10 a.m. Pacific. You can find it in your local time at jupiterbroadcasting.com/calendar. Thank you to our members. You get the bootleg with everything and more. And of course, thank you for joining us. We wouldn't do the show if you weren't listening, so we appreciate you too. And let us know your adventures with the 1-liter PCs and your thoughts on the Valve hardware announcements. We'd love to read those next week. Thank you so much for joining us on this week's episode of your Unplugged program. We'll see you next Tuesday, as in Sunday. sucking milk there from my knee. All right. Thank you, Drew. Gentlemen, you can hit stop. Now we got to title this thing. An
Ansible repo for config confessions. I should probably go back and do some streamlining, but overall, it's served me well.
I like you. You're a hot ticket.
Always pasteurize the knee milk. You never know where that knee's been.
You got it, right? Yeah, of course.
All right, so I want to open up those configs.
Yeah, stick it on the pile. Thank you, Fuzzy.
Know what happened. I think maybe the Marcel one got overwritten, but it's still on our paste bin, so I can go grab it there. Where's the other one that got boosted? Was it a boost that came in with a yes?
Yes.
Right? Was it? Yes, here it is. Here it is. It was Gene, right? No. It was
No, TIE Fighter, although Gene as well. For sure, Gene as well.
TIE
Fighter's NixOS repo for system config.
TIE.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, TIE.
Ooh, looks nice. We've got some screenshots in the README. Love that. Nice looking fast fetch.
I love Thai food. All right, go vote, everybody. We're going to get the vote music going here in just a moment. Now, there's a way on our paste bin to see latest. Right? Yeah, here we go. I found Marcel. Here's Marcel. Okay. I have found Marcel, and I'm going to put him in the post show.
Ooh, postal code. So, TIE Fighter has mentioned this is their first Git repo, but they've already got Home Manager in here, so they're like way ahead.
Ooh.
All right, there's a Marcel repo email in the post show section. And let's take a look at our titles. Everybody ready to vote?
I don't think Magbot's quite ready, but you might give it another 30 seconds.
I keep it in my back pocket.
A license to Steam. I didn't even submit mine, which was something new, something old.
Because you knew it would just lose.
Huh?
While the titles are loading up, something we didn't mention is the Steam hardware aspect. I mean, we knew and have seen that, Valve is putting SteamOS on different handhelds, but there's a whole, on their whole Steam machine page, there's a dedicated area for Steam hardware. And I think that's just a reference to the partners they'll be working with in the future. And they've mentioned this before, but this is just a drop in the bucket. Like, their own hardware is their own hardware. I think the original plan and idea for Steam machines is for other people to build them. And I have a feeling we're going to get more of that in the coming months and years.
Sounds like Jeff has a prediction for the end of the year.
You heard it here first.
Just got to remember to say it when we do the predictions.
Perfect.
Nice. I wish that played like when I did something, like
yeah, I know,
just a
right?
minor success in my life.
Maybe one day when we have ambient computers everywhere.
Yeah, dish is done. Boom, boom.
Locked in.
Yeah.
All right. I say we start the voting. Everybody go give a thumbs up. Here we go.
Face plasma.
Plasma for your face is pretty good. But the show is a lot more than that. That's the only problem.
Yeah, it's tricky to summer. There's a lot. There's a lot to cover.
Half of it's the Steam stuff, and half of it's the 1 liter PC stuff.
1 liter of Steam.
Face PC versus 1 liter PC.
He didn't fix it right. He fixed it free.
The other thing that I didn't even say in the show, but did cross my mind about this, of all the companies that I'm going to strap a face computer to my face.
Good point.
I feel like I'm more comfortable with way more comfortable with a Valve face computer than a Meta or an Apple or a Microsoft face computer.
Mm-hmm.
This is the reason I want one. That I won't sign into a Facebook account to play a video game. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I wish
This is the reason.
That was one of the things I wanted to mention that I didn't mention in the show. And the other thing that I said I'd mention in the show that I didn't mention in the show is this kind of feels like the biggest hardware release of 2025. Just even if you just remove the Linux and all that.
Wow.
Sort of feels like right? Because it just hasn't been a big hardware year for one thing.
That's true.
I mean, Apple's updated some of their machines, but they're just spec bumps, and Dell and everybody else has done the same.
Framework 16, I guess.
Yeah, this feels a little bit more consequential, though.
For Linux, yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. But it could be. If we had the Tuxies, I think this would be a vote, one that I would... okay.
I'm curious to see, how much noise does this make outside of Linux circles? How generally excited do people get? How much do people who,
the deck does
actual adoption?
The deck seems to have pierced a little bit.
Do we see a repeat of that? Yeah. That would be interesting.
Well, they can push it pretty hard on the Steam store.
It gets me thinking about Valve's long-term Linux plan. They kind of moved away from Windows and towards Linux quite a long time ago now. And like you were saying, there's all this setup towards, making sure all of the software can actually make something like this a success. But what is on the horizon that we don't yet know about? Like, they clearly have a long-term plan and vision, and this is somewhat bonkers what they just came out with, because it's what we've been hoping for, and holy shit, it's reality. But what's coming in the next 5 years?
Well, did you see Gabe's new yacht? It must be something related to yachts.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That thing has like a submarine built in.
And like 15 gaming PCs or something? I don't know.
You could...
He does do underwater research.
You could be out in your yacht and then be like, feel like going out in my submarine, and launch your submarine from your yacht, go out and do submarine stuff, and then come back and park it in your yacht.
Well, when you're busy, you don't really have time to go to like a separate submarine place to launch from. That's like a whole thing.
What I hear you saying is the Steam frame and also the new controller are for controlling his submarine?
Probably.
Is that what you're saying?
Probably. Yeah, sorry, we did already talk about the Steam frame. Right.
The problem with the OceanGate Titan thing was actually the controller that was eliminated. So the new Steam controller is going to be sufficient to actually properly.
Yeah, the magnets might be an issue, but we'll see.
Pretty excited. It's pretty neat.
Well, he just spent $300 million on an NFL-sized research ship for multiple month-long missions in the deepest parts of the ocean. He does do a lot of underwater stuff. Like the dude's crazy.
I mean, if you have money, that's not a bad thing to be putting it towards.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Our Linux, all these Linux nerds got to fund something. Screw the developers. Like, let's get some underwater research.
All right, we got to solve this title because we got to look at Marcel's config here. So what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do for a title? What are we gonna do?
Well, there's one clear winner here.
Which one is that?
Well, I mean, it's always Wes's suggestion. There are 8 votes for Steam Machine 2: The Power of Proton.
Really, I don't even see that.
Are we looking at the same chat? I might be in the wrong one.
Chris just has his one title in a list in front of him.
Steam Machine, Electric Boogaloo.
Sorry, Brent, I just don't see whatever you're talking about.
I like what Mayhem was going for there, Electric Boogaloo on the Steam Machine.
Yeah.
Steam Machine 2, Electric Boogaloo. That's such a Steam Machine 2, The Power of Proton. What is that, Wes? What even is that? How did that get 8 votes?
I didn't vote for it.
You can see who voted, so you can blame us all, right?
You voted for it, Brent?
Well,
Oh my gosh. How is that a good title?
I'm partial to Wes.
Steam Machine 2, The Power of Proton?
How'd you put in a title? Maybe I would have voted for yours.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, you didn't put in, I don't see any Chris titles.
No, I didn't. You're right. I had something old, something new.
Outsourcing it to the community, huh?
Ooh, Megbot voted for my title.
What? The Megbot is voting?
Well, Megbot puts in a vote for everyone as a way to make it easy to vote. So
I see.
That's Brent's participation trophy.
I got it. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
By the way, if we talk about bots, could you maybe tell your bot to do the title like in bold or in yellow, because it's more human readable?
Ooh,
that's smart.
Would be nice.
Could just be Markdown formatted. Yeah, bold. I'm not loving this. Plasma for your face is sort of my favorite, but it doesn't really encompass the entirety of the episode.
1 liter face PC.
A whole liter in your face
is what I put in.
Yeah, I like what you were trying to go there. It just doesn't.
I think you would be more familiar with quarts of steam.
Yeah, it is weird.
We use liters for drinks and stuff for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's weird.
I thought it's a quart a liter bit more than a liter.
I'll tell you what I just can't get. I can get behind most of metric what I can't get behind is kilometers per hour. It's so dumb.
What about liters per 100 kilometers?
Don't do that. No, and not even the Brits do that. They draw the line there. They're like, this is stupid. We're not doing that.
The Brits transitioned like a heck of a long time ago, and they have done a terrible job.
I don't know. I like it actually in a way. You use it for everything but miles for like car stuff, and I was like, okay.
When they use what, British?
Yeah.
Gallons for their fuel consumption metric.
Yeah. Anyways, we need a title.
Are you asking for new titles?
We could put in nothing, nil.
We should have done that. Just screw it. Like we did for Linux Action News.
The Untitled episode.
I bet you it would probably get 10 to 20% less downloads, but it could be worth it.
Be a good April Fool's episode.
What could we call this? So you got to beat something new, something old.
Or we adopt that.
That's the best descriptor so far, but it doesn't have anything to do with Steam or Valve or anything in the name, is my complaint.
We'll just use one of those UTF non-breaking spaces. Boom, done.
So Marcel,
something like small powered, small machines, high power, something like that.
Small machines, high power.
Good things in small packages.
Like something like Home Assistant with Steam. As easy as it sounds.
I wish Home Assistant for the holidays made sense as a title.
Yeah.
I just like saying it.
New hardware for the holidays? Except for it's not going to be for the holidays. It's going to be after the holidays. It's a real shame they couldn't hit the 2025.
I was thinking that too. Like, man, I wonder if that was like just a bunch of pressure on outside sources and everything. They just couldn't give them machining and everything in time.
It was like that for the deck too. All right, so here's what Marcel says. He says, I'm trying to get STM32 Cube Programmer running. I found some advice on a Nix package issue, and I tried to run the GitHub Lang Nix search trick. The best I could do is get the command line version working, but not the GUI. I reached out to the authors, and they couldn't get it working either. Although I already am using the FHS version, and it's not packaged as a Flatpak or an app image. Is there an escape hatch I'm missing? I'm really trying to like NixOS, and I'm putting in a lot of hours trying to get it running. Not being able to run the software I need is a complete deal breaker. Also, here's my NixOS .files if you want to take a look. So I think he's kind of asking two things, maybe a config review, but he's really asking what could be an escape hatch you could use to run this esoteric STM32 Cube Programmer program. He needs a way to run this gosh darn GUI, and that can be tricky.
Yeah, I don't know much about it. It might depend on what kind of GUI framework it uses. How easy can you run it in something like DistroBox? I don't know if that was one of the ones, or if you could install it yourself and build a container image and run it that way. Maybe if FHS wrapping isn't quite enough.
This is a weird piece of software. I'm trying to look it up. Yeah, I was wondering about DistroBox. I think the graphical version could be tricky with DistroBox sometimes. If there's a way to solve that.
There's always going all the way to a virtual machine if you need to.
I was wondering like an Ubuntu container or something. But then I still don't quite know how you would do the graphics. Maybe remote desktop, but
I tried.
Yeah, there are some things where
Pi.
Yeah,
it didn't go well.
Ooh, download as a guest. I have to put in a name and a professional email.
Does it actually say professional?
It says professional. Jeff, what's a professional email?
One with a proper work domain,
At Microsoft.com.
Yeah, because they'll verify that for sure.
I'm looking at his .files.
Okay, Jeff at Microsoft.com seems to have worked.
Nice.
So
yes,
check your email,
somebody
Jeff.
gets that email.
Check your email. That's good.
Aw, they send the link to the email. Hey, Jeff's getting my STM32 Cube download.
Some guy named Jeff is wondering what's going on right now. I bet he gets all kinds of spam.
Oh, they got a data brief. Maybe I can get that.
Send it to Bill at Microsoft.com.
Yeah, that's a tricky thing. I do think, like, to the extent if the computer is a workstation to use particular software, then there are definitely times where NixOS, if the software doesn't run well in NixOS, then it's like just not the best fit for it, right? It makes sense more when the trade-offs you get from the declarative and reproducible nature matter more than like the specifics of those things, or
I feel like
there.
you would hack a way to make it work. You would get it working somehow. I'm just trying to think, what would Wes do to hack this together to make it work? If it wasn't an option, I think you'd figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, probably I would try some kind of container to see if, try to reproduce getting it working in a minimal Ubuntu environment, maybe like you suggest, and then see if you can recreate that enough and pass through enough stuff to get that working in a good way that way.
I will say, like, I've been playing around with a declarative Podman container for Bitfocus Companion. It's real easy. And it's auto-updated. It auto-starts with my system.
Well, I don't know why you won't use my Flake, but I'm glad it's working.
Because I think the Flake wasn't ready at the time when we were doing the show that day or something. I don't remember. It works pretty good, though, so I don't really have any complaints. I'm pretty happy with it. Yeah, I like your setup. Home manager. I'm going to dock a point for home manager because I'm tired, and it makes me more tired when I look at it.
Seems well organized.
Yeah.
Got packages. Oh, yeah, I'll have to see. I'll have to try. Curious to check out this derivation you've got for the STM32 Cube programmer.
I'm really liking my setup. So I've been going along this whole time thinking my monitor was at home on my RVB was running at 144 hertz. And it wasn't until I brought up the on-screen menu on the monitor this weekend when Dylan and I were working on some settings, and it says on there 60 hertz, and I'm like, oh man, I thought I had this thing turned up. I was playing around with it, and I could get it set, but then it would always revert back to 60 hertz after I logged in. So I have a little post-login Hyperland control command that after my login session starts, after my desktop session starts, it just sets the monitor to 144 hertz, and that seems to stick.
Nice, okay.
But it was one of those things where it's like, I really feel like I'm kind of getting like the refining stage.
Yeah.
I want this monitor at actually 144 hertz. No, I think I'm too old to notice a difference, but Dylan notices a difference.
And you don't want Dylan making comments.
Oh, he hates it. He's always playing that damn Geometry Dash, and he hates the leg, so,
Okay, Risato says, look at uBlue DistroBox setup. You can run GUI apps easily there. Notterbrain says, our studio runs well with DistroBox on Nix or Bluefin. So.
Okay, good to know. Thank you. So that could be a nice escape hatch, Marcel. That could be. I think that's worth playing with, right? I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And do let us know. I'm sorry it's been so frustrating. That is, it can definitely be very annoying when stuff doesn't work. And you're like, I just need this one thing, and it's not quite there, especially with whatever proprietary GUI stuff it uses.
I really like the smart plug that Alex included.
I'm curious. It looks nice from the docs you linked.
Mm-hmm. All local, no cloud at all. Home Assistant picks it up in seconds. It also still has, I imagine, a little web UI you could enable if you didn't have Home Assistant.
I like the idea of if I tried it from you and then just sort of complaining that I couldn't get the cloud stuff to work.
Yeah.
What was the brand? Is that the one you asked me about when I was away from Mike?
KAUF or Kaufman Home Automation. KAUFHA.com.
Yeah, I've never heard of it, but I'll look into it. Sounds cool.
I mean, they're basically made for Home Assistant essentially, because you get them on your Wi-Fi, and 2 seconds later, Home Assistant's like, "Hey, you want to?"
They got some slick looking wall switches, RGB wall switches.
Oh, really? Woo!
Yeah, their main webpage.
Gaming room. Actually, the RGB can be fun, even if you only ever leave it on chill colors. But then for the holidays, you turn them on and have fun.
Yeah, and notifications too. Hey, something is over temperature,
or just on, changing the color state when something's on. That's
right.
That's it. That's where it's at.
I love that. Dang.
Yeah, man. How much are those?
You just try exactly. You're about to say you're trying to make me spend money right now, and I don't want smart switches. It's not what I use my Home Assistant for.
Geez, $22, and it just out of the box is going to work with Home Assistant.
That's not bad.
Why isn't everything like this?
You can get it tomorrow from Amazon.
Oh, stop that!
What is going on? How great would this be in the studio? Oh my gosh!
They make a smart bulb, huh?
Oh, really? Does that run?
That's right.
Does that run ESP Home too?
It says add the Koff smart bulb in ESP Home dashboard.
So are they like buying products and reflashing them and then reselling them?
I don't know.
Probably. A lot of these things run ESP devices. Even the stupid fan that I put up in your office there, or in your hallway, mine's the same thing, and they run ESP devices.
You know, he sells a DIY thermostat. I wonder if I could use that in the RV.
Ooh, project.
And then also, this is fun. People probably like these kind of a parking distant meter. Again, these are some of these, like this is an easy project, but it's just using a little sensor and then a WLED light strip, and it fills up the light strip as you get close to your spot in your garage or whatever.
So smart.
I think Brent needs this smart water kettle.
Yeah, the smart water kettle. Look at that. Oh my God.
What's smart about it?
I don't know, brother. Although that's a good brand. Diaz used that one for years.
Don't you want, like, automation with Home Assistant to turn your kettle on, and then also graphs of the kettle temperature over time?
I mean, think about it. Think about it. You're on your way.
Breakfast?
It's cold out. You're on your way back to the van. You want a nice hot beverage when you get to the van. You're walking up. You just hit the button in your Home Assistant app. Kettle turns on, starts cooking up water for you.
Well, it's too loud though, right? Way too loud.
The kettle? Yeah, it is loud. But see, he's walking up to the van. He's not in the van.
And you could have a separate little decibel meter to monitor the levels.
And when it
so
gets
you
too
make sure
loud,
you time it so you don't get loud, when it's still loud.
Turn it off when it gets too loud. Damn, this is way cooler than I realized. This is...
Koff is the man.
I'm liking what Koff is putting out. I'm liking it. A couple of different smart plugs, too.
Have you gone to the About page?
No.
I was just looking at that, actually.
Because
it
looks
looks
pretty
dude.
Oh, man.
He's a patent attorney.
A patent attorney by day, home automation enthusiast on the weekends. That's so great. And he's got a picture of him flying in like a little jet or something. He's basically in the co-pilot seat.
That's so great.
That's about as badass as it gets. Brent, how come you haven't booked this guy to talk to us on the show?
Yeah, well,
he seems like he likes brunch. Let me just say,
he looks like somebody
who doesn't.
My kids.
What?
I know.
I'll convert them.
Yeah.
You give me a week with them. I'll convert them.
Yeah, they need it. It'll take time. All right.
Turns out Dino Nuggets go great at lunch.
Mumble Room, thank you for hanging out with us. Shout out up there. I see Carl. Hi, Carl. Hello, everybody up there. Thank you for the quiet listening too.
My pleasure.
Nice to see you. And of course, we want you to join us on Sunday. We have the launch coming up on Tuesday. The live stream should be a good one. I got a special live stream planned for next Tuesday. If you can make it, don't forget to call us.
Streamed exclusively with flock cameras.
I haven't checked in since yesterday. 774-462-5667. That's it. All right. 774-462-5667. Call now.
Call the launch. It's a lot of fun. And when I say that, you know I mean it because I'm always right.
Chris was
but I never
right.
hear you.
Who could have seen it coming? Next time, just ask Chris first.
Sometimes I'm right.
I don't know why you never call the launch. I've never heard you leave a voice.
Good point. I'm always answering the phone. I'm always answering.
Well, you could, let Ange play the voicemails.
There
and
you
then
go.
You can leave one.
All right, Mumble Room, thank you. See you next time. Goodbye, guys.
See you, fellas.
See you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for
Miss you.
Of course, thank you, everybody watching live. Appreciate you out there giving it that live vibe. Makes it extra special. Gives it that special spice. You know what I mean?
Like cardamom?
I don't actually know what I mean now that I think about it, but...
No, the spice from Dune. Blue
the better version. Yeah,
see the future, that kind of thing.
Whoa, that's not where I was going, but I'll go with it. All right, thank you, everybody, and thank you to our members. We really would not be doing this without... We could not do this without you. We appreciate you, and I guess if I could do a show every day for you, I would. So the fact that we do it once a Sunday, it's the least I could do. But if I could put it that way, it's the least we could do, and I hope you enjoyed the bootleg. And I'm going to leave you with a classic. Goodbye, everybody.